Hey, this is David Humphreys in operations. Today I want to talk about ethical considerations and a code of ethics proposal. One of the first things I think for us is to identify our purpose, right? This code of conduct of ethics is really going to guide our productivity, our development, and our corporate responsibility, and it's really to address some growing ethical concerns raised by a couple customers and some investors. Vision Tech has a lot of capabilities, but right now, we have the heads up display in our glasses. And right now it's visible into the wearer, but it's got built in audio and video recordings within the frames. So there's potential for a lot of different applications here. So some of the ethical concerns, number one, I'd say privacy and informed consent. I would say one of my biggest concerns is privacy, specifically informed consent, because the lack of awareness really removes a choice for somebody else. Personally, if I thought or I knew people around me were wearing glasses that would record kind of what we're talking about or doing without my knowledge, I'd be a little bit concerned. And as a parent and someone who values community trust, really raises some concerns for me in that arena. Second would be kind of surveillance normalization, as they would call it. So there's kind of a risk of normalizing that over time. And then when people feel watched, behavior changes. And guess what? It's not always beneficial. Over time, this really can erode trust in the public and even private spaces, even here. And we don't want that to happen. I have personally seen how unclear or inconsistent leadership really created kind of anxiety. And then that constant monitoring really created a defensive mindset in society. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Number three really revolves around data security and decision making. These glasses collect incredibly sensitive data. That's video, audio, contextual, all that. We need to be clear about how the data is stored, how it's protected, and ultimately how it's used. They're shaped by how we design them. From an operation standpoint, I know how systems shape behavior, and then if our systems aren't ethical by design, problems will scale really fast. Number four, I would say really kind of a ethical versus a capability mission drift, right? Just because we can add a feature doesn't necessarily mean that we should. Okay. I know investors will pressure over time, slowly push us away from our original values because they want to get as much money and return on investment as they can. But I've worked environments where leadership's priorities constantly shifted, and we got to make sure that we're staying straight on there because that will damage trust and really long term performance. And I don't want that for Vision Tech, and I know you certainly don't want that either. Number five, let's talk about that human impact and human interaction. Listen, I also worry about how this technology really impacts human presence. Like if others are constantly focused on digital overlays, it really pulls the attention away from real people. And innovation should really enhance our life, man. It shouldn't replace meaningful connection. Like people-centered leadership matters to me. I believe technology should support us and not distract us. Okay. So why now? Okay, we got to be proactive and we got to provide transparency. We got to align departments and external investors, and then prevent reactive decision making after ethical failure. So some of the core principles here: it's about respect, it's about transparency, being responsible, secure, and really driving accountability and ethical governance. Like we should commit to respecting privacy and informed consent, right? And we can design them and build them that way. Also, think about commitments, right? Respect for privacy and consent. Be clear about audio and visual indicators so they know when it's active. And then users got to have responsibility standards for lawful and ethical use. Okay. And we've got to make this product design that discourages covert surveillance. We definitely don't want that. So let's talk about transparency and disclosure, right? Transparency builds trust, and that's a part of honesty. And I would be honest with you and tell you users and the public deserve to know what our technology does and honestly what it doesn't do. And then we have to have no hidden features, and we can't be vague about our disclosures either. Number three, I would say data responsibility and security, right? We should collect the least amount of data that's necessary. We got to have strong security. We got to limit our retention, and we cannot misuse our data. We got to have data stewardship. It's our ethical responsibility, not just an IT issue. Number 4, human-centered, right? The design has to be all about the human. Every decision should ask, hey, does this protect dignity of ourselves and the individuals? And then really, if a feature undermines the trust or connection, it deserves a serious review. And ethics should be a part of our R&D, not an afterthought. Finally, number 5, I think we need accountability at the leadership level. That starts with us and goes all the way down. It includes ethical reviews before we launch a new product and the willingness to say no, even when it's inconvenient. So all that to say, I truly believe Vision Tech can lead ethically in this space. If we set the standards now, we will protect our people, we'll protect our customers, and ultimately we'll protect our future. And you know what? I'd love to collaborate on refining this code and making it a part of who we are.